Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Physics Surgery. Today I brought forward the thermodynamics challenge from the Pathfinder textbook. Okay, this is an objective question, right? Looks very innocent, but it's actually not. Often misinterpreted among the students about this being a free expansion process. Okay, so without much further ado, let me actually go into the formal wording of the question. So a heat regulate insulated rigid flask is evacuated and its opening is sealed with a cork. The flask is held at rest in a large chamber filled with an ideal monatomic gas at temperature of 27 degrees centigrade, approximately 300 Kelvin. The cork is suddenly removed and air quickly fills into the flask. Okay, so if the volume of the flask is negligible compared to the volume of the entire chamber around, what is the temperature of the air inside the flask immediately after a thermodynamic equilibrium is attained in the flask? Okay, so this is almost like a genie into the bottle kind of a visualization, if you can joke about it. Okay, so this is like vacuum is there and entire chamber had a lot of air, and that air is coming in, it's monatomic gas, sorry. So that's coming in and it will attain some thermodynamic equilibrium. Okay, so immediately after that, it's not still interacting with the surroundings, so you need to calculate what is the temperature. So try to give it a fair amount of try, and then we'll go ahead with the solution of the problem. So you can pause it and try. Okay, so let's move ahead. So often confused this particular process with the free expansion. Okay, so people think that this is actually a free expansion because they feel that the gas is actually going into vacuum, right? So this right side is our challenge. The left side, I've tried to put up a rigid wall. You could see trying to tell visually that these two concepts are completely different concepts. Okay, so let's go through what's a free expansion, also known as Joule expansion. Okay, right? So in free expansion, which you might have studied as a part of your JEE syllabus and has been often asked in JEE advanced exams, is that when you remove the piston, right, then during the process, the gas actually moves into the vacuum. And remember, this is a finite amount of gas. Okay, so as it moves, there is no external push from itself, right? It can't push itself. Okay, so as it keeps moving, the pressure on the particular gas from its surroundings is assumed to be zero. So no external push on the gas during the expansion, and that's why it's called free expansion. Okay, right? So W is considered to be zero, work done on the gas is zero. And remember, this is an irreversible process. You can't talk about dW, it's the whole W, total value of work. Okay, and since it is an adiabatic vessel, which is the primary condition of a Joule expansion situation, we talk about Q being equal to zero. Okay, so the value of heat supplied is equal to zero. And then we move ahead to apply the first law. With Q and W zero, we would say delta U is zero, and therefore it becomes an isothermal. But remember, it's an irreversible process. Okay, so in that, if temperature initially was something, then final temperature after it settles down to equilibrium also will be same. Okay, so let's come to this particular case where this is the outside air or the monoatomic gas, which was at pressure P0 and temperature T0. Imagine I'm thinking of a valve which allows this particular gas to go into the bottle. This is the bottle, right? And you should visualize that whatever volume of gas that's going to go into this particular vessel, I'll take that as a system boundary. That is my system on which I'll try to apply my concept. Okay, so this process is actually going to be called as throttling process. It's not free expansion. I'll tell you why. As this gas goes in, unlike the case of free expansion, there is still air here, right? So this particular gas, it keeps pushing it in all directions, and that its pressure is not going to change, right? So if I try to put in some arrows, if you could see in the figure that I am trying to, it gets pushed by the atmosphere, and that atmospheric pressure would be still P0. Okay, so it's almost like someone is pushing this bag into this into this particular valve. Okay, it's like throttle is like you're pushing it in, forcing it in. So that's why the process name is throttling, and it is also called as Joule-Thomson process. And part of the misconception is because of the name of Joule expansion being often confused with Joule-Thomson process. Okay, so this is Joule-Thomson and this is just a Joule expansion. So since the gas gets pushed in by the surroundings, there is work done on the gas, and that obviously is assumed to be a constant pressure situation, right? As it keeps getting pushed in, the atmosphere is vast here, its pressure properties won't change by much. So I can clearly write work done on gas is equal to P naught V naught. Okay, since this is also an adiabatic situation, which is a very quick process as we assume, first law this time yields delta U is not zero, but whatever work is done on the gas, I should be able to substitute here. Okay, right? Then we can further use the condition that the value of delta U for ideal gas is given by NCV TF minus TI, that is final minus initial, and work done on gas we already said is P naught V naught, right? Which I can use ideal gas equation, that NR into TI, V naught is initial, right? So then when you rearrange after cancelling the number of moles of the gas that went inside, you'll get a nice little expression for TF and TI, and you'll be surprised to know that it's actually a warming up process, because gamma is always greater than 1, right? So this is Cp, and I wrote Cp by Cv is gamma, which means the Joule-Thomson process, when the gas expands into a beaker or like a genie into the bottle, there is a warming effect that will take place, right? And if the reverse takes place, then there is a cooling effect. And if a bottle of gas is there and then it goes into the vacuum, right, and then it is going to be a cooling effect. Okay, so this is something that is also known as Joule Kelvin effect or Kelvin Joule effect. So these are the names given and should not be confused with the free expansion. That's the whole idea. So we are at the answer right now. It's gamma. Gamma is 5 by 3. 5 by 3 of 300 Kelvin. Answer is actually 500 Kelvin. So the required answer here is 227 degrees centigrade. Now, if you are a JEE advanced student, then you can leave the process here, but there is something more you can learn for a future problem that can appear in the exam. Okay, so either in Olympiads or even in JEE exam, right, you should understand the general throttling process, for which the problem was actually a special case. Okay, so general throttling process is a case where gas actually on one side, you could see in the left hand of the screen I'm pointing out, gas on one side moves through a valve onto the other side where the pressures are different. Okay, right? So this can be equated to having a system where the gas this side, which is coming onto this side, I've taken it as a system. Can you see that here? Right, so this is the system. So this one, once it goes into this side, I have assumed that the system of gas which was here finally is here on the other side of the valve. So this can be equated to a situation where the gas is contained by pistons and that piston's gas is moving towards right. Okay, so this is the kind of throttling process that is happening. So if small amount of gas is actually moving from one side to the other side, okay, so for this Joule-Thomson or throttling process, we can calculate the total work done on mass m of the gas as small m into P1 into V1 minus small m into P2 into V2, where you could see I've written small v1 and small v2. These are nothing but the specific quantities like volume per unit mass, and U is the internal energy per unit mass. Okay, right? Then even this process is adiabatic because it's the initial condition that you take in a Joule-Thomson process. You can apply the first law of thermodynamics for the small m amount of gas that went from one side to another side, and then you end up getting something very simple, right? So that whatever work I have here on gas, this is work done by gas, so I have to put a minus sign here. I rearrange and I get something very familiar that you are going to learn in chemistry. Okay, right? So I divided both sides with mass m, and you end up getting this capital U as small u, that is internal energy per unit mass, and the capital P into small v, right? So this particular thing is coming out to be constant during a throttling process, and this need not be vacuum on the other side. Please understand, this is a very interesting concept that you can actually use in a future problem where gas doesn't go into a bottle of zero pressure, but it could be even a flow rate that goes from one side of the pressure to the other side. Okay, so this quantity I think you are very familiar. It is nothing but the enthalpy per unit mass, or something called as specific enthalpy. So as a thumb rule, you can actually remember that in a throttling process, that with all conditions that are available, the enthalpy is actually per unit mass a constant, or specific enthalpy remains the same. So if you had used this and if you knew this one, you could have directly written that specific enthalpy of this particular gas that's going in our problem, going into this, is going to be constant. And that's what this equation is going to give you. It's like a U plus PV initially of this, this is equal to U plus PV finally of this, right? So initially U plus PV, you could see, is very simple. That's why you end up getting, by bringing U on that side, right, delta U comes out to be PV's delta, right? And P is fixed, P naught, and delta V is nothing but whatever the volume of the vessel is. Because if you consider the entire gas was there with certain volume, its increase in volume is only due to this extra vacuum that was there. So which is what we exactly wrote. So if you can't do it in this manner, if you are students of chemistry who understand the throttling process and enthalpy, you can directly write the answer in one step. Okay, so this is the general thing. Now after learning this enthalpy, we should also know when not to use it. Okay, so under what conditions is the situation that we have used in the problem not valid? Let's try to see as an eye opener. So the value of HF equal to HI that I used in this problem is only valid when the dimensions of the valve that you used, okay, so imagine this is the bottle, is very large compared to mean free path of the gas that's entering. So you remember that mean free path talks about the collisions and all that, right? So when the gas is actually entering, we should assume that the collisions with these particular walls as it enters is actually negligible. Okay, so if that capital D, or the diameter of that valve that you're talking about, is very large, then it's fine. Otherwise collisions have to be considered, and then energy losses will happen, and enthalpy, which is an energy term, cannot be equated before and after. Okay, so this is referred to, whenever this capital D is very large compared to lambda, it is referred to as hydrodynamic flow. If capital D is small, that means, imagine this is very, very small, and smaller than the mean free path, then the process is called effusion. Okay, so we'll look at effusion in another video. All right, and what we'll do is, we will try to make up that video and put in the link in the description here, right, once it is done. So please do search for that link below. Okay, another important case where it is not valid, and it's a very, very important problem, is a reverse case of this. Imagine the gas is already there in the container, and it's going into vacuum. Outside vacuum is vast. Okay, so in this particular problem, even if the diameter of this particular valve is large and there are no collisions, this gas actually, once it goes out, you can't define a state for that gas. Okay, right, the state cannot be defined, so the value of HF itself is invalid in that particular situation. So then we have to think of something else. Even though energy is conserved, remember, we have to think about something else, and that is what is illustrated beautifully in Irados 2.42 problem. And for that, we'll make a resolved case and resolved video where capital D very large compared to lambda and capital D very small compared to lambda cases would be taken up, and then you can see the underlying beauty of all the concepts involved. Okay, so that is also placed in the links in the description once it is made. Okay, so please do come back and check whenever it is made up. Okay, so I hope you have learned the difference between all the processes that I have discussed, and I hope you're eagerly waiting for the resolved video that I'm going to set up on these little conditions. Okay, so thank you, and please make sure that if you like this particular video, you do subscribe to my channel, and to share it with your friends, and share it with your students if you are a teacher, and do support me. Thank you, and see you in the next resolved video on this. Okay, it will be really exciting journey.